Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Selamat pagi semua. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. And we will begin shortly. And please kindly take your seats. Kita penuhkan ruang kerusi yang ada. Kalau boleh, jangan penuhkan ruang yang paling depan sekali, tetapi serapat mungkin ya. Jangan tinggalkan tempat yang kosong. And we also request that all mobile phones will be switched off or to silent mode. Thank you. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Dr. Azmi Ahmad Murjan, Senior Director of Investment, Majlis Amanah Rakyat. Selamat datang. Please be seated. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and Salam Malaysia Madani. Good morning everyone. Distinguished guests, Yang Berbahagia Dr. Azmi Ahmad Murjan, Senior Director of Investment Majlis Amanah Rakyat. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Amir Azhar Ibrahim, Acting Group Chief Executive Officer Mara Corporation. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Muhammad Razali Muhammad Rahim, Chairman Pelaburan Mara Berhad. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Muhammad Izwan Izzuddin Abdul Rahman, Chairman PNB Investment Berhad. Yang Berusaha Mr. Mahathir Othman, Group Chief Executive Officer of Pelaburan Mara Berhad. It is also a distinct honor to welcome our esteemed ministry delegations from across the region. Joining us today are representatives from the Kingdom of Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and Taiwan. Furthermore, we are privileged to have in our presence a gathering of industry experts, including prominent bankers, fund managers, and legal professionals. Distinguished guests, esteemed leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the forum titled Leading the Next Frontier, Shariah Investing in a Sustainable World, held in conjunction with Mara's 60th anniversary. My name is Yasmin Hani, and it is my pleasure to be your MC for today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather at a pivotal moment where Islamic finance evolves beyond preservation towards sustainable, value-driven growth. Let us begin. May I invite our moderator to the stage, Mr. Mahathir Mustafa, Chief Operating Officer of PNB Sustainable. Dipersilakan. Also inviting our distinguished panelists, Mr. Hang Tuah Amin Tajuddin, Chief Executive Officer, PNB Investment. Mr. Muhammad Azrin Aliman, Group Agency Manager, PNB Investment. Mr. Chichi Wang, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, PNB Sustainable. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah Muhammad Rasid, Chief Executive Officer, ISRA International Consulting. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I now hand over to our moderator, Encik Mahathir Mustafa, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to all distinguished guests and attendees to this forum titled Leading the Next Frontier, Shariah Investing in a Sustainable World. An interesting subject. I think it's a difficult subject, and I don't think we can cover it within this short forum, but we'll try. I guess we want to kickstart the discussion and hope it be able to sustain going forward. Yeah. As we mark Mara's 60 years, I guess we are at a critical stage. Yeah. There's so many global disruptions for the past 5-6 years, starting from the COVID-19 pandemic, yeah, which threw out everything. Nobody has experienced that before. And follow up to that, we have the inflation coming out from the COVID-19, as well as supply chain disruption. Yeah, these are certain elements that has thrown out all the rules, all the traditional rules. Yeah, then came the Russian-Ukraine war. Yeah, throughout certain important prices and movement of minerals, example. Yeah. Now we have the Iran war, Iran conflict. Yeah. Again, it threw out everything. So what we're saying that based on all these global disruptions, all the traditional rules about what we've been doing, especially on the investing side, yeah, it threw out. Yeah? So how can we look forward in terms of looking at, is there a better way to invest? Is there a better way for us to coincide with what is happening in the world today? Yeah? For the past few years, in terms of the environment, yeah, ESG has taken effect in Malaysia as well in the world. Yeah? So those are the things that we, in terms of Mara Group investment, looking at how and what ways we should look going forward. Whether sustainable investment is something that we should be looking forward to. Yeah? If you take on ESG, sustainable, specifically in terms of the carbon market, is something that is very exciting now. It's very, some people are still questioning it, yeah? So I guess it's something that we should kickstart discussion going forward. So hence, we are here today in terms of looking at that particular discussion, yeah? So Malaysia is in a very good position because Malaysia, in terms of the supply of carbon market is there, yeah? We have 18 million hectares of forests, mangroves and all that, that can become the benchmark for all what we're doing here. Apart from that, the technology side in terms of carbon, renewable energy, yeah, is something that we have started to proceed with the target 2050 net zero for the country. We are on the right track. It's just that carbon market is something that is still like people still asking, yeah, what is it all about? Yeah? So hopefully we can explore some of the points here today. So for today's forum, let me introduce the eminent, all the experts here, starting from Encik Hang Tuah Amin Tajuddin, Chief Executive Officer, PNB Investment Berhad. He has more than 25 years at the helm of Malaysia's financial and investment industry, yeah, from asset management, fixed income, to Islamic and conventional treasury. Yeah, a respected figure in Malaysia's investment community. His commitment to develop the next generation of investment professionals, as well as deep belief in the role of sound financial stewardship, yeah, in driving our country as well. Yeah. We are truly privileged to have him here today. Yang berusaha Encik Muhammad Azrin Aliman, Group Agency Manager, PNB Investment. He is a prominent Group Agency Manager and Islamic Wealth Planner at PNB Investment Berhad. Yeah. He has risen through the ranks to lead the BMWA Group, consistently earning accolades as a top-performing unit trust consultant and producer. A graduate of University Malaya, Azrin is widely recognized for his expertise in Sharia-compliant financial planning and retirement strategies, yeah, frequently sharing his insights through national media platforms and public investment seminars. Thank you, welcome. Next, we have Mr. Chichi Wang, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, PNB Sustainable Sdn Bhd, a seasoned leader in sustainable finance and ESG. He has led his organization's strategic initiatives agenda across carbon market development, ESG integration, and international collaboration. Firmly rooted in national priorities and global climate action. With a distinguished career spanning Malaysia, ASEAN, and Greater China, he brings deep expertise in sustainable strategy, carbon markets, and cross-border investment structuring. We are privileged to have you here today. Last but not least, Professor Madya Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah Muhammad Rashid, Chief Executive Officer, ISRA International Consulting Sdn Bhd. As CEO of ISRA, ISRA is a consulting arm of INSEAF University. He sits at the very heart of Malaysia's Islamic finance ecosystem, with over 23 years of experience as both a respected academic and seasoned industry strategist. He has dedicated his career to advancing the principles and practice global reach of Islamic finance. His expertise spans Islamic capital markets, Shariah compliant investment, Wakaf fund management, Islamic wealth management, and financial advisory. And his counsel has sought by governments, regulators, financial institutions across the globe. Beyond his advisory and leadership roles, he is a prolific contributor to the academic research and an inspiring voice in shaping the next generation of Islamic finance professionals. We are truly privileged to have you, sir, today. Thank you. So, to start the ball rolling, since Hang Tuah is beside me, the first question to you, sir. PMBI has traditionally focused on capital preservation and fixed income strategies. With the impact of the world uncertainties, how do you balance the need for stability, especially for within the MARA ecosystem, with the view to pursue higher returns through newer and potentially more volatile asset classes?
Thank you, Cik Mahathir. I mean, PMB investments, besides involving ourselves in the traditional assets like equities, bonds, and fixed income securities, these are all traditional assets which not only PMB investment, but the whole fund asset managers in Malaysia as well as around the world has been involved in for years and decades. So, to me, with the ongoing geopolitical risk, now is the time to change. But our drive towards a new asset class doesn't mean we are actually shifting from our core philosophy, which is investors' interest and capital preservation. To me, I look at this as an evolution. Evolution in terms of incorporating a new asset class that we would like to offer to all our investors. Capital preservation remains a key, a core in our investing philosophy. But as you're all aware, the environment in Malaysia as well as around the world has changed dramatically. Although we don't feel it right now, especially in terms of the inflation, but all over the world, we are seeing inflation remains persistently very high. Of course, that's not due to our fault, but we've seen traditional assets is, in a way, underperforming in terms of the real returns. So, traditional instruments like fixed income have seen yields compressed, and because of that, institutional liabilities are also becoming more long-term due to lower interest rates environment. And you have seen in compliance carbon markets like Europe, capital, and also all around the world, capital are increasingly moving towards sustainability-linked assets, which we would like to drive. Carbon credits, carbon markets, or carbon assets, as we call it, represents, to me, a new asset class, a new structurally driven asset class. And if you ask me whether it is more credible than crypto, yes, I will agree. It's more credible than crypto because carbon assets are actually backed by a well-established framework, especially in Europe and all over the world. And also, carbon credits are also supported by global decarbonization efforts. Not only that, the introduction of carbon credits is actually future-proofing our asset portfolios in the next 5 to 10 years. Including inclusion of carbon credits as our asset classes that we like to offer to our investors is actually part of our core strategies. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
And in terms of the second question, how do you balance innovation and stability? Normally, people look at innovation as a more volatile asset class, right, rather than stability. For me, I look at it as a portfolio construction, how you construct your portfolio in a manageable way. So at PME Investment, we actually construct our portfolio in different layers, starting from stable value income fund that we offer to our investors for liquidity, and soon to be launched fixed price income wholesale fund for medium-term capital as well as income stability, and our carbon strategy for long-term growth and sustainability.
Okay.
So all these strategies represents a purpose. Although stability is not compromised, in fact, it has strengthened because we are allocating risk and more efficiently as well as across time horizons. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Interesting you mentioned about that traditional to become looking at carbon market as one of the options. Yeah? So, Mr. Chichi, I guess for many investors and people out there, as we go along this journey, carbon credits are still not well understood, yeah, generally in Malaysia. Can you briefly explain how the carbon market works, from sourcing to monetization, as well as what are the key factors that determine the value of the carbon credits? And how do you ensure quality? Yeah, I think that's a mouthful there, yeah.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank some of the very distinguished guests that actually helped me to understand and learn what is carbon credit. From the TGO and from the ministries of environments from Indonesia and then from Cambodia. They feed me a lot of knowledges. So today, when actually, you know, when I was invited or asked to be here to explain what is carbon market, then they give me the questions, okay? They give me the questions. So what is carbon market? Instead of I want to explain what is carbon market, let's demo what is carbon market, okay? Today, we have about 200 people in this hall, okay? 200 people. So in average, something event like this, the carbon footprint for traveling is about 0.5 credit because of the AC, because of the car, because of airfares, about 0.5 credits per person. So it means by attending this event, we are polluting the world 0.5 credit. So this is sin. So how to offset our sin? Well, we can reduce by effort by using EV. If there's EV airplanes, then we use EV airplanes, right? So the other way is we can offset it through carbon credits. Now, I want to demo, like here we have 200 people, then 0.5, then it means we need to offset 100 carbon credits, voluntary, because we love this world, right? So 200 persons, 100 credits. Then we need to buy. Buy from who? Buy from who? A couple of weeks ago, when I was in Indonesia, had a meeting with, in the Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup, in the office of His Excellency Diaz, the Deputy Minister, I was told, hey, Chichi, let's help sell some of the Indonesian carbon credit. Then, today, we need 100 carbon credit. Can we buy from Indonesia so that we offset? With the Director of Carbon Pricing Indonesia from the Ministry of Environment. So I'm approaching them, let's buy it, carbon credit to offset. So can we buy from TGO to offset? So yes, then we agree on a price. How much you want to sell it to us, right? So we agree on a price, then we buy it, we purchase it, then we offset it, cancel from the registry, say we offset it for this event. Then everyone who came here for this event, then is carbon, carbon neutral in somehow. So voluntary. So this market happened. So it transacts from the project owners and the off-taker. So without pre-arranged, Dato' Amil and Dato' Razali, and then our big boss here, Dato' Azmi, can we make this event a more sustainable by offset 100 carbon credits with the current market price from, let's say, the retail price at the moment, according to the B2C market, is about 1,200 baht in Thailand by True Money owned by CP and Alibaba. They transacted at 1,200 baht, which is 160 ringgit per credit at the moment, today. So, would like to invite some of our partners and also from the group. We make this event more sustainable. So we'll buy some from TGO, from Indonesia, to offset this event transacted. Then this is a market. Market happened. Market happened. So, Dato, is that okay? Is that okay? We make this more sustainable. Then we offset. Yes. So, congratulations. This event is sustainable. Please give ourselves a clap. So make sure you give us a big discount, okay? Big discount, please. Okay. Okay. So carbon credit is something that you can buy to offset the carbon emissions. And then there are two markets. One is volunteer market, which I just demo. And then there's a compliance market. People are buying, corporations are buying to offset their emissions at a certain percentage so that they can help the world and reduce their carbon tax. And so they'll go through the process of project developments and then issuings and verifications, register and cancellations. There's a whole process of it. So that is carbon market.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of what Chua mentioned just now about compared to cryptocurrency, carbon credit, you would have an underlying asset at the back of it. Yeah? Means that it's the carbon savings coming out from the assets. Yeah? And we put a value to it. Yeah? Just mentioned there's a value to it. Yeah? So we go into that. So for Doctor, yeah, since Malaysia is well positioned, apart from the supply in terms of the carbon market itself, we are also at the forefront of Islamic financing, yeah, within the region as well as in the world. Yeah? So when you talk about carbon credits, yeah, there has been an ongoing debate whether carbon credits qualify as a Shariah compliant asset. Yeah? Maybe you can share your views for it. And if you look at ISRA, we believe that ISRA has described a Sharia certified carbon framework, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Doctor can share your thoughts on this.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, Encik Mahathir. I think, closer, okay. I think that's a very pertinent question and quite profound because whenever you see a new market coming up, the first question is that, is this permissible from Islamic perspective? The same thing that people were talking about digital currency, and now the debate is actually moving towards a carbon credit, all right? I mean, in the context of digital currency, especially Bitcoins and everything, it's a bit more challenging. But in the context of carbon credit, I think the agreement among the scholars are quite straightforward, right? And this is also our stand as well. We have to really look at the Sharia principle here in a very, I would say, a broad perspective. Number one, you have the underlying assets, all right, which means that, you know, the carbon credit that being created from a real activity, because you cannot just generate a carbon credit without doing anything, right? So basically there is a real activity, and that activity is basically permitted under Sharia. That's number one. Number two, The whole idea of doing this is that because you also want to fulfill the objective of the maqasid as well. Because you, I mean, in a nutshell, you want to make the world a better place. Because we all know the harm that can happen to us if you're not taking care of this environment. Okay? There's so much of harm that can take place because if the world go chaos because of the environment. Disease, flooding, disasters, and, we are quite lucky in Malaysia that, our system is still better. But if you look at other countries like Pakistan and everything, it's a tragic what's going on. Livelihood is basically being destroyed because of the environmental crisis. So the basic idea that we are coming here is that, number one, we look at how the market is being created, which is permissible. And number two, how the market is basically being transacted. So which means that we are not really thinking about the underlying asset itself, but again, we are also looking at how the market is actually being done, or the control mechanism. So if you look at carbon credit, not everyone can actually generate carbon credit. There is a process that you have to go through, the verification, for example, the registry, the audit, and so on and so forth. So this is where perhaps, ISRA or INSEF comes in and said, how do this thing, from the Sharia perspective. And the other thing is that, the more importantly, where we are coming from is that, it's not just about the market itself, but more importantly, the impact. All right? And it's very clear, whenever you have something like carbon credit, you are penalizing people who are actually creating harm, and you are actually rewarding people who are actually creating good. All right? And then like what Kiki have said, he used a strong word like sin, right, of having this activity. I mean, I understand where it's coming from, but some people can be skeptical and say, all right, listen guys, you don't want to do anything, then don't do anything. I mean, in the extreme word, we might as well just sleep and do nothing, then nothing will happen to the environment, right? But we are human beings, we have desire, we have objective, we need to see progress, and we need to create economic activity. So where Sharia comes in is that, A, to ensure the activity is really backed by underlying asset. Number two, there is a mechanism of control that we will stick to it, because we just do not want another speculative markets to happen. We already have enough speculative market out there. For example, non-fungible token, NFT, there's a lot of hype to it, and then eventually a lot of people lose money out of it. And of course, when it comes to digital currency and crypto, some quite successful, some not, but there are a lot of extreme volatility, so we want to have a proper market control. But what is more important is that if people really want to accept Islamic finance, and people want to see that carbon credit is a means towards Islamic finance, we need to ensure that the impact is positive. And this is where Malaysia have to come up and say, we are the role model. All right? Right? And we are already a leading Islamic finance proponents globally. Right? And we have the ecosystem, we have the players, we have the scholars. By far, we are leading it. And so we should not be losing when it comes to carbon credit. So let me stop there for the first round. Then probably I can expand later my deliberation in probably the second or
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much, Encik Mahathir.
I guess the understanding is that it's a full value chain about the Sharia carbon credit. It's not only one area, yeah. It goes throughout the whole chain, yeah. And that's why it's kind of something. It's quite critical, for us to understand, yeah, the details. So for Encik Azrin, yeah. From your experience, after listening to all the three panelists mentioned and with the input from Doctor about on the Sharia carbon credits, how are investors, particularly in retail, yeah, and responding to newer concepts? How can they respond, yeah, for carbon credits? Yeah? And whether you can explain, if you introduce something new, what are the challenges for the people on the ground?
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right. From my experience, working closely with the investors and with my agency team, I think the biggest issue is not the product. The biggest issue is the mindset of the investor. Many people think that Sharia compliant investment are low return. too conservative and only meant for saving and not for growing wealth. So I think the issue is not about the product, it's not the mindset. Okay? Many investors doesn't realize that the reality today is Shariah investing has evolved into a strong, transparent, and well-managed system. In many ways, sometimes it's more disciplined when it comes to risk management. So the real issue here is a behavior. A lot of investors lack of patience. They want invest today and have income tomorrow. Same goes to a cryptocurrency, NFT, all that. Okay, we need to put some time to the investment. Okay, they don't understand that there is a long-term investment, and the worst part is they try to time the market. They try to figure out which is the best time to buy, which is the time to enter the market. Therefore, they react emotionally and get influenced by trends. So I think trends today, as a sustainable technology, I think it's going to be a good trend for today. Because we know already about cryptocurrency, we know already about NFTs, we know already about sometimes we go gold, something like that, right? The one is a conventional one. So I think it's a good product for new method of investment in Malaysia, I think.
But currently, if because it's something new, when you say you have this fund, Shariah carbon credit funds and all that, people will be skeptical, as you mentioned. Yeah? So it's something that we need to put. I think information flow, knowledge about what is it all about, is something that I think we need to work together. Yes, yeah. So especially on the government policy as well as. Yeah.
So this is where our roles come in, lah.
Okay.
We must educate them, give them knowledge, and we must work together with the investors and to create a new product that then can attract them more. For me, if the thing is new, you can just give them some time.
So going to that in terms of Cik Tua, well, you mentioned the intention to create a flagship Shariah compliant carbon credit fund. Yeah, can you tell us what differentiates this from your existing funds, as well as ESG or sustainable link investment products currently?
Right. Okay. Just a reminder that, as with crypto previously, the current regulatory environment in Malaysia has yet to recognize carbon credits as a financial asset class. However, I have a high degree of confidence with the recent announcement by the government on the blueprint for carbon credits in Malaysia. Eventually, carbon credits will be accepted, as an investment asset class. And with that in mind, for the carbon credit, the intention to establish a carbon credit fund by PNB Investment has three key differentiators. So the first differentiator is a full integration. Before the carbon credit fund is actually, we need to have a supply of carbon credits. If there's not sufficient carbon credits, the fund itself will fail. So we are very, very fortunate that working with our sister company, PNB Sustainable, as one of the sources for carbon credits. So this fund will source some of the carbon credits investment from PNB Sustainable. Right? So the second integration is ISRA validation, which we are very fortunate to have ISRA here, Professor Iskandar, to validate. As you're aware, PNB Investment is a fully Shariah compliant licensed fund manager. So all our investors need to be Shariah compliant and Shariah certified. So with ISRA acting as a Shariah advisor to fully certify all the carbon credits that we purchase are Shariah compliant, that makes the job easier to set up the fund and for the fund to buy into this Shariah certified carbon credits. And the third but final integration is PNB itself, PNB Investment itself, as the fund developer, will ensure that these funds is suitable for the wholesale market investors to invest in. For the second key differentiator, is the asset class itself. So I've seen for the past few years numerous ESG-linked funds, but this fund does not just invest in ESG-linked equities or fixed income securities. In fact, this fund primarily invests in directly carbon assets, which in this case, carbon credits. So this is the key differentiator for this particular fund that we intend to actually develop. And third, institutional design. This fund actually purposely built, developed to cater for the GLCs, corporates, as well as institutional investors. It is not just an ESG fund. It is a dedicated investable asset class strategy for all the wholesale investors. Right?
Thank you. I guess I'm a novice in terms of investment here. I guess basic investments that in this scenario is that you have that direct project investment. Yeah, you invest directly in terms of the, example, solar projects, yeah, sustainable methane reduction capture and all that. Yeah, so that's one part of it in terms of you get the returns from the project itself. And as a fund manager, it would be like if you had construct a fund manager, you would also be investing in all this. That's number one. Number two is that the outcome of this project, which is the carbon credits, the RECs, renewable energy certificates, which based on discussions that there are value in it. Yeah. So I guess the future is there in terms of for you to explore. Yeah.
Yes. I think it depends on the mandate for each fund, how would each of these funds are purposely built. For example, the intention that we have for the carbon credit fund is actually for investors to invest in, and they hold the carbon credits itself, which is already there, right, for the offsetting strategies within their corporate mandate. We do have intention to build to establish another fund for more long-term investment, which is to actually invest in ESG projects, which takes some time. So that requires a different mindset, different investors' objective. So these two funds may actually coincide, may sit within the fund itself, or we may have to differentiate between the two funds. Because one fund, the purpose is to actually invest and obtain returns on a regular basis to be returned to the investors. And the other one, which invests in ESG projects, which may take some time, and the investors may not see returns until a few years down the road. So those are the two distinct carbon funds that we are looking to actually establish for our investors.
Thank you. We talk about risk, yeah, Chichi. Some corporates may choose to purchase carbon credits directly. Well, first is for them to offset. And what we're talking here is about for value creation, value sustaining investment. Should they consider investing through structured fund instead? And what are the main risks in investing in carbon markets?
For me, definitely. You let the professional, you let the experts to do the professional job. Like Mr. Tua said, now we're going to have a carbon credit fund. So, Pak Safiq, can we invite Danantara to invest into our fund, carbon credit fund? Maybe can you arrange that to discuss with Danantara? And then we are more than welcome to have Indonesian fund coming in, right, to your fund.
Yes, we do. We do welcome all investors.
Yes, and then we can ensure ISRA here to make sure the carbon credit is Sharia compliance, which is first in the world. There's no such thing. Until now, ISRA has come out with the ideas that Sharia compliance carbon credit, right? So, yes, institutions, I think it should better that put the money with Tua. Here, Mr. Tua here.
Yes,
because we know how to manage the asset. We know how to deal with the carbon markets better. Just like if you have the money, why you buy the fund? You can invest in the stock market by yourself,
Yeah, options.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that yourself. But why you put into the fund?
Yeah.
Let the expert do the job.
Yeah.
Let the expert do the job, right?
Yes.
And also, um, we can work closely with ISRA. And then last year, there's a research paper from ISRA talking about the Shariah compliance carbon credit. It's clearly stated that it's class, is a asset. Maybe later, Dr. Iskandar can explain a little bit more, and it is recognized by various councils, I believe, and accounting auditing, international accounting auditing bodies. So with all these things, we believe that the carbon credits, the future of carbon credits market is going to be good and very good. And then, so since the future markets is projected to be a positive, then maybe people should, the companies should, or institutions, or even individuals should let the professional, let the experts manage the investment. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you. Doctor, since we're talking about risks in terms of what are key Shariah risks associated with the carbon market, carbon trading, yeah, and how can they be mitigated, yeah, in terms of just now Doctor was mentioning about the wholesale in terms of the monitoring, all the process, yeah. Maybe you can share your thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you so much. But first of all, I just love the way, Kiki, sell this idea about, getting the conviction on the spot. So I think this is something I got to learn from this panel. Never seen it before, but fantastic. All right. Again, thanks for the questions. I think the conversations is just leading to the point that, how do we want to elevate this whole idea? I mean, everybody in this room knows that, for idea to take off, it has to be a supply and demand, acceptance, trust, validity, and all those things. So, in a nutshell, what exactly that we are trying to do, we are not just saying this, because we want to make this thing as an asset, and it's a Sharia compliant, and all the people who want to have Islamic fund put their money into it. That's not the whole idea of doing this. But eventually, that's what we want to achieve at the end. But the whole thought process is completely different. All right? The whole thought process is always start from the idea of maqasid, that we have the fundamental rights to protect the environment. We need to make sure that the future generation will inherit a better world than what we have inherited so far. We need to leave a legacy. That is the fundamental idea. And how we break it down into three mechanisms. So from the Sharia perspective, the activity itself has to be Sharia compliance. All right? So whether on the supply or even on the demand side. I mean, those are very easy for us to verify and so on and so forth. But more importantly, where the Sharia become a bit more challenging is that how we ensure that the market control. How we ensure that once this is recognized as an asset, remember, carbon credit is actually intangible financial rights, which means that the asset which is generated from something else. All right? And that asset is real, is tradable because there's a value and there's a positive impact that the asset is actually bringing. But the moment you consider something as an asset, then automatically you open up for entire spectrum of investment. It can be a currency, all right? It can be used, for example, for commodity murabaha. For example, now we want to have tawaro and we want to have some asset. You can use it as well, all right? You can use it, for example, for other purpose, typically that what we learn in investment or so on and so forth. So a lot of people, when they see Sharia, they say, okay, is this permissible or not? Okay, done, I can do whatever we want. But that's not what we want to have achieved here. We want to ensure that the Sharia is applying in the entire spectrum of carbon credit. So that's the second part. This is where we come in and we say, for example, we had a discussion with before. We want to ensure that what we do, we have a registry and we become the custodian of the registry, so the market trusts exactly that this process is verified, not just at the source, but basically at the entire value chain. all right? And we believe that we can do that, we can become the first in the world, and we can set the standard and for the rest of the world to follow. Right? And this is something that Malaysia should be very proud of. Sometimes being Malaysian, sometimes I also kind of annoyed with the skepticism about fellow Malaysians. We always think that the idea that comes from Malaysia should always be secondary, but if the same thing that being said outside Malaysia, that idea can be fantastic. But in fact, we are saying exactly the same thing. All right? So we can actually bring it to the next level. And the last part, which I want to end by saying that what is more important in Islamic finance today is not just about concept of halal, but also halal and tayyiban. So whatever we do, we have to ensure that the impact is actually felt by the people, by the society. All right? So driving an EV car is not just about changing your lifestyle, but actually changing your purpose, changing your mindset. I think our brother said it very correctly. When it comes to all these doing good and goody things, it's not just about whether we can create a product or create a market. That's the easy part, right? But what is the more difficult part is that how do we create people who believe in this idea, right? Especially an idea which is harder to see the profit at the beginning, right? And I always try to make comparison with digital currency. A lot of things about digital currency, the hype that being created is purely speculative at the beginning and substance at the later. All right? The question that we have to ask ourselves is that, can we create substance first and control the speculative later? I think that should be the thinking that we have. And for that, the concept of halal and tayyiban, the impact that we're making to the society, to the farmers, how we create insurance product or takaful product so that, it can be linked to carbon credit, so that the market become much more dynamic and protect the people that we're supposed to protect. I think that will make us a different than the rest. I think that's what Malaysia should aspire to become the standard for Islamic finance and for the rest of the world to follow. So thank you so much.
So I guess the beliefs, if you can put a belief, then we can go towards the carbon, towards the crypto value. That will make the day for us. So in terms of Encik Azrin, you have listened to Chichi, you have listened to Doctor. So do you see it's going to make it easier in terms of for you to convince the traditional investors in terms of coming out from the natural fixed deposits into something more sustainable, something that, you create that belief, yeah?
I won't describe it as easy, okay, but we can manage it, okay, to educate rakyat Malaysia especially, okay, because for me, to becoming a number one in everything, there's a price you have to pay for it. So,
Price to pay,
yeah, we have to invest more on advertisement. We must invest more on education, okay, to tell the rakyat Malaysia that this one is halal and can be dependable and is something that has an owner, because as we look at the cryptocurrency, there is no owner of the cryptocurrency. So if anything happen to that cryptocurrency, who are they going to see? There's no owner. So as a sustainable, something like the carbon credit, at least we know it is PNB sustainable, owned by PNB sustainable. So it is our responsibility to tell the rakyat Malaysia that this particular new investment is potential to give growth. And some more can give back to the environment, more greener, because Malaysians today, there's a lack of kesedaran about awareness about the greener Malaysia. They just use whatever they want. They just cut whatever they want. Okay, as long as the Malaysian is good in everything. So I think, we can educate sustainable. Yeah, I cannot wait for that to educate investors.
Okay. Thank you. In the interest of time, I guess we go on to the final question. I have one question in terms of, then you would answer based on your respective areas of concern. Yeah? If Malaysia were to position itself as a global hub for Sharia compliant carbon markets, carbon credits, what are the key enablers or changes that you think that Malaysia needs?
Okay, let me just answer briefly. So, actually, the main two factors which is the key enablers for the Malaysian market, for Malaysia to be the global hub for carbon credit. I mean, at least in the ASEAN perspective, right? So first naturally will be policy clarity and regulatory support. Without this, no market can be established, right? So we need a clear framework, especially from the regulator's perspective, in terms of carbon trading and investment. So these are two key areas. Regulators must also actually clarify and signal that also as well as recognize carbon credits as a legitimate, investable asset class. I think that's very key. Because without this, no institutional capital can move into the carbon credit market.
Okay.
So that's number key. So the second part is a market infrastructure. Say you have a carbon credit owners, someone who owns carbon credits. How they encourage them to actually improve and actually invest in more decarbonization efforts. Of course, they need cash to do that. I mean, having carbon credits, yes, it's well and good, but they need cash or funds to actually continue to actually invest in these carbon credits strategies. So there lies the market, like someone from PNB Investment or any other investors who will be able to buy those carbon credits for cash.
Okay.
So the second key factor is market infrastructure. Supported by verification standards, credible registries we have yet to have in here, and a proper trading platform. So you cannot build a market without any of these key infrastructures. So ultimately, success of the establishment of a carbon market lies in alignment with the policy, market participants, and capital. Thank you.
Encik Azrin?
Okay. For me, we need to help client understand that Shariah investing is not just about halal. It's about investing responsibly. And it aligns with sustainable investing principle. More importantly, we need to build confidence. At least we can show real track record. And we plan based on their risk profile. So when the client start to see the result and understand the journey, the confidence will come naturally, insyaAllah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Kami mengalu-alukan kedatangan Datuk Zulfikri Osman, Director General of MARA. Thank you, Datuk, for attending this. Mr. Chichi?
Well, I think Malaysia's already actually leading. It's actually leading. Now, like what Dr. Iskandar said, now we have a new asset class. And then it's intangible asset. And then this opens to a whole new opportunities. It means investment, even like currencies and all these things. Then if we make this into a Shariah compliance, it improves its integrity. That is one of the questions people always have when it comes to carbon credit. Is that real? How's the integrity? Then let the Malaysian Shariah compliance standards tell the world that our carbon credits, as long as Malaysia already endorsed or certified, it means good. So you can have peace of mind, you buy the carbon credit, you offset, you do your duty. Save the world for the better future. And then this one also opened another brand new market that maybe some of our international foreign guests that not aware of, and or that is the Murabah hard trading market. So this is another market here, and Malaysia's already at the moment is leading in the B2C carbon credit markets. We have transacted a lot more than in the regions. In other countries, carbon credit is purchased by corporations. But then in the last event that our Deputy Prime Minister, Dasri Dr. Zaid Hamidi, he clearly signs on his poster that say offsetting your carbon emissions and be sustainable is the duty of every citizen, every individuals of Malaysia. It's not just the big corporations. So this is another market. So now Malaysia is setting example to the world. And then with a support or guidance from the Sharia compliance from the ISRA, then I believe Malaysia's will not just lead the world and also will help other countries that are interested or willing to upgrade their carbon credit integrities to be part of this Sharia compliance world.
I think I do agree with Mr. Chichi. Malaysia is already a leader in Islamic finance globally. So why not in Sharia compliant carbon credits?
Okay. Hey, Doctor?
Okay. I'm glad I'm the last one who has the mic. So I would like to say something perhaps can be construed as quite controversial. But I just want to say it. I think for this to happen, two things. Number one, there must be a very strong collaboration between the federal and also the state. I think that's very critical. The reason is actually very simple. Whatever we talk about, the forest, the land and everything, the majority of it is actually still under the purview of the state. So we actually have to get the buy-in, not just at the federal level, but more importantly at the state level as well. And this is also another aspect that Islamic finance can come in, because there are a lot of Waqaf land out there who actually remain idle. And no one says that Waqaf land can only be used to build mosques, to build, graveyard and everything. Especially in the modern context, a land can actually be used as a forestrations, and that can generate revenue, and that can actually lead more economic activity as well. So forest can be seen as a liability, but forest has to be seen as an asset. I think that is a very important concept that we all have to understand. Number two, if really this idea is going to flourish, I think Malaysia has to start looking at this idea on a regional basis. I think Kiki have highlighted throughout his presentation that for this to work, they must have a liquidity, many market players, transactions, and so on and so forth. And Malaysia alone is actually not enough. I think we need to see this idea at the regional level. And this is not something new. Even we look at the next capital market plan at the ASEAN level, ESG framework for SMEs is there, carbon credit, ASEAN passport. So all these ideas is actually being discussed. But we need the industry players, and it's very heartening to see that Mara is also taking a leading role on this, and even created a carbon fund. It's congratulations, well done, and also thank you for choosing us as your also advisors as well. So we are very proud to be part of this. So I think this journey has to be more aggressive. We cannot just wait for things to happen. I think more difficult conversation should take place at a much higher level. In fact, this has to be a serious discussion when the federal or the Prime Minister even meet the MB on the monthly meeting. This has to be part of the agenda in terms of pushing this agenda forward. So with that, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. So as to summarize the thing today, it's a lively discussion. We acknowledge there are global disruptors. We need to relook at the thinking ahead. Traditional method doesn't work anymore. We need to look at sustainability, ability to be sustained, going forward. That's the key message here. Don't get us wrong. Carbon emission is here. First action is that we need to reduce the carbon emission. We need to come up with all these sustainable projects that generates all these savings, absorption of carbons, etc. And if we get value out of it in terms of carbon credits, is something that we need to look at, yeah, in terms of if you invest in carbon markets, carbon credits, it means that you are supporting the sustainable. Individually, we can't really 100% reduce our emission. Same goes with companies. But the moment that you invest in a carbon market, carbon credits funds, example, yeah, it means that you are showing your support, yeah, to develop, to create. The more that you invest, the more of these projects is going to come into the picture. I believe that's going to happen going forward. So it's a global effort. Malaysia has got a good stand here, being a Shariah Islamic financing center. If we can combine those, at the end of the day, it's about the greater good of the country and the world. Yeah. So thank you, panel, for the discussion. Hopefully, we can go to the next stage. So much to talk about, but this is a start. Hopefully, we can proceed. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to our moderator and panelists for an insightful and engaging discussion. Now, kindly remain on stage for the Momento presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Zulfikri bin Osman, Director General of MARA, to present mementos to our moderator and panelist. Dipersilakan. I'd like to welcome Mr. Mahathir Mustafa. Thank you. And next is Mr. Hang Tuah Amin Tajuddin. Thank you. Next, Mr. Muhammad Azrin Aliman. Thank you, Mr. Chichi Wang. Last but not least, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah Muhammad Rasid. Thank you, gentlemen. We kindly request Dato' Zulfikri to remain on stage for the next agenda, please. May I invite the distinguished guests to join Dato' Zulfikri on stage for document exchange ceremony. Dipersilakan. Now we invite Mr. Najmi Mohammed, CEO of PMB Sustainable, and Professor Madya Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah Muhammad Rasid, CEO of ISRA International Consulting, to the stage for the exchange of LOI regarding the future of sustainable gas industry development, integrating Sharia-compliant carbon mechanisms as a driver of ethical growth. Thank you. And now please welcome Mr. Faris Mustafa, CEO of Asia Gas Hub, to the stage to exchange the LOI with Mr. Najmi. Thank you. And lastly, the exchange of LOI between ISRA International Consulting with Asia Gas Hub, represented by Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah and Mr. Faris. Thank you. Next, please welcome Mr. Hang Tuah Amin Tajuddin and Mr. Najmi Mohammed for the strategic collaboration between PNB Investment and PNB Sustainable in developing Shariah-compliant investment platforms focused on carbon credits, ESG assets, and sustainable finance solutions. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Najmi. Now we invite Mr. Arifin Sabirin, Chief Executive Officer of Wasiyah Shop Berhad, for the exchange of the Memorandum of Collaboration with PNB Investment. And this partnership focuses on enhancing Sharia-compliant wealth and estate management solutions, including hibah programs for investors. Thank you, Mr. Arifin. Distinguished guests, we now move to the product launch. May I respectfully invite Yang Berbahagia Dato' Zulfikri, along with our distinguished guests, to move towards the crystal globe. And kindly place your hands on the globe. Okey, semua boleh letakkan tangan di atas globe tu. Atas boleh, bawah boleh, kiri boleh, kanan pun boleh. Okay, yes. Please place your hands on the globe. Okay, and I'm going to count down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dalam dunia pelaburan yang sentiasa bergerak, pasaran berubah, keadaan berubah, keputusan menjadi penentu. Berpandukan prinsip syariah, setiap pendekatan pelaburan bermula dengan tanggungjawab dan tujuan yang jelas. Bagi pelabur, hala tuju yang jelas memerlukan kejelasan, struktur dan disiplin. Di sebalik setiap portfolio, terdapat proses pengurusan aktif, pemilihan yang berdisiplin dan pemantauan berterusan. Memperkenalkan PNB Shariah Fixed Price Income Wholesale Fund. Dana ini bertujuan menjana pendapatan yang stabil dan berkala sambil memelihara modal dalam jangka sederhana hingga panjang. Dana ini dibina melalui portfolio aset patuh syariah, termasuk instrumen pendapatan tetap Islamik, equity patuh syariah, skim pelaburan kolektif patuh syariah dan deposit Islam. Dana ini diurus secara aktif bagi menyokong penjanaan pendapatan, pemeliharaan modal dan keperluan kecairan. Dana ini juga berpotensi memberi kecekapan cukai yang lebih baik berbanding instrumen konvensional tertakluk kepada profil cukai pelabur. Dana ini mempunyai sasaran NAV RM1 seunit bagi tujuan pelaburan. Dana ini ditawarkan hanya kepada pelabur sophisticated. Dana ini diuruskan oleh PNB Investment Berhad dengan Amanah Raya Trustees Berhad sebagai pemegang amanah dan Amani Advisors Sendirian Berhad sebagai penasihat syariah. PNB Shariah Fixed Price Income Wholesale Fund.
Congratulations. Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Dato' Zulfikri and distinguished guests. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the PNB Shariah Fixed Price Income Wholesale Fund is designed for sophisticated investors, aiming to deliver stable and consistent income while preserving capital over the medium to long term. The fund invests in a diversified portfolio of Sharia-compliant assets, including Islamic fixed income instruments, equities, collective investment schemes, and Islamic deposits. This marks a significant addition to PNB Investments' suite of Sharia-compliant solutions. Thank you, distinguished guests. Today's program reflects a defining moment in Malaysia's Islamic finance journey, where stability meets sustainability, and where Sharia principles guide the future of global investing. As we celebrate 60 years of MARA, we are reminded that progress is built on vision, collaboration, and the courage to innovate. We now proceed to the photo session. May I invite all VIPs, VVIPs, and guests to face the photographers up on the stage. We're going to take a group photo, so put on your biggest smile. Everyone's ready? Smile in 3, 2, 1. Can you feel my smile and my voice? Okay, next pose, can we do thumbs up? Like everybody's happy and satisfied? Awesome, don't cover your face. All right, great. Photographers happy? Everyone's happy. All right, thank you. Distinguished guests, this marks the end of today's program. On behalf of the organizers, we sincerely apologize for any shortcomings throughout the event. And thank you for your presence and valued support. We invite you to visit the showcase and networking area, and have a pleasant day ahead. Assalamualaikum.